Hello and welcome to another video with Britta Swiderski. Today I'm going to share with you my favorites of the seasonal distress inks, which have recently, as of October 2012, been announced that they will be selling open stock with Ranger. And I know a lot of you have been watching these with interest and haven't been buying all of the seasonal sets like I have because I'm addicted. So I would like to show you my favorites and kind of giving you a buying guide for picking up the distress inks. Maybe you can only afford one or two or three at a time, or maybe you only can afford one or two or three total. So I wanted to give you a little bit of guidance on what I like the best and maybe what will work best for you. If you have a lot of the other distress ink colors, for me, these are my favorite three, and I think that these really complement the distress ink palette and also give you a lot more options. I really love Peacock Feathers from the spring collection, Salty Oceans from the summer collection, and Seedless Preserves from the fall collection. And these colors all work really, really well together with the ones that are already in the palette. Not that I don't love any of the other ones any less, but I just really like these, and they're some of my favorite colors, just period. And I'll show you on a little bit of an index card here. This is Peacock Feathers. So you have this nice teal that blends really well with Broken China and pretty much all of the blues, and even the greens too. This is Salty Ocean. So a really rich royal blue, which blends perfectly with the blues again. And then Seedless Preserves, which is a darker purple with a little bit more red in it than the Dusty Concord. So it creates this really rich depth to go with the Dusty Concord and Milled Lavender as well. So those are my three favorites and my three picks for the first ones you should buy. Now let me show you the other ones just so you have an idea. I really like Ripe Persimmon because it's a really great red orange. So you have this really vibrant orange. It goes really well with Spiced Marmalade and Fired Brick. So it's right in those categories. I'll just pull those out and show you with it. So we have Fired Brick, which my pen needs to be reinked, and then Spiced Marmalade. So you can see it complements those very nicely. Then we have Gathered Twigs, which is a really great brown. It's different than the other browns in the palette in that it's a little bit darker and a little bit more rich. So I really highly recommend it, but if you have a lot of the other browns, you probably don't need it right away. And then we have Festive Berries from the winter palette. So this really bright, rich red. It's close to Barn Door, but has a little bit more depth to it. So I really like it for that. Really perfect for Christmas projects. Then moving on, we have Evergreen Bough, also from the winter collection. So it's this really rich green that goes well with pine needles, but it's a little bit darker. It also goes well with Peacock Feathers. I'll show you if you see it there. If you want this kind of teal look, it goes well with that. We have Ice Spruce, which I actually think of more as a gray than anything else. Looks like I have a little bit of purple on this pad, but for my craft mat. But you can see it's more of a neutral gray. Has a little bit of hints of greens and blues in it, which go with the whole spruce idea. But regardless, I really like it. Then we have Squeezed Lemonade, which is a really, really great, vibrant yellow. It matches the mustard seed in that it's really, really bright and vivid, but it's not quite as orangey. It's just a very true yellow, and it's really great. Then we have Shaded Lilac, which is one of my absolute favorite colors. So I highly encourage you to get this color if you have a chance. It's a really great periwinkle, but again, it's not exactly perfect for blending in with all the other ones. It goes great with the seasonal distress inks, but you have Milled Lavender, you have Chipped Sapphire, which is like a very dark version of Shaded Lilac, but I really just like Shaded Lilac by itself, and I think that's what lends it to the best, having the most fun with it. Then we have this Picked Raspberry, which is the perfect magenta, and I love, love, love magenta. It's just not for everyone, so I didn't put it as my top three. But Shaded Lilac and Picked Raspberry would probably be my numbers 4 and 5, along with Mowed Lawn is also one of my favorites. I just really like these bright, happy colors, and you probably know that if you follow my blog. I'm always using very bright, happy colors. So the bright, happy colors really make me happy when we're talking about the new inks added to the Distress Ink palette. So these are my 4th, 5th, and 6th picks, but these are my top 3. And now I'm going to create something with the Peacock Feathers and Salty Ocean to show you how I use them and really what they can add to your stash. Alright, so now I'm going to make a card with just one color of Distress Ink, just to show you that this is one way to use your Distress Ink, and mostly just to play with it. But I'm going to start out by blending it on to my cardstock. I'm using Peacock Feathers because it's probably my favorite color out of all of the released ones. And I think it's very, very versatile and very, very trendy right now. So I think it's a really great starter color if you're just getting into the seasonal Distress Inks. I'm just blending it on here using a circular motion onto regular white cardstock. This is Nina Solar White cardstock. And just making sure to get even coverage as best as I can. Using my ink tool, letting the ink tool do all of its work for you. So now that we've used our ink tool to blend on the Peacock Feathers, I'm actually going to create a tone-on-tone look by inking up this envelope pattern stamp from Hero Arts with the same exact ink. And remember, you could do this with absolutely any Distress Ink color. This is just a way to create something using a color that you love, or just, you know, create a card quickly if you want to. Now I'll just lay my cardstock down onto my envelope pattern and press with a sheet of scrap paper over it just to keep my fingers from getting any more inky than they already are. And now you have this really great tone-on-tone background. And you see we have some of our foam from the inking tool in there, but that's okay. So now we have this really great tone-on-tone background. It just adds a really great subtle texture, and you could do this with any background stamp, and it's going to show up as that wonderful subtlety. So I'm going to clean up my work surface before I get everything all inky. And now I can just start out adhering it to my card base. I just have this craft cardstock base that I have right here. Super simple. It's also Nina cardstock. It's Desert Storm, and it's really, really great craft. And I'll have links to everything I've shown you in this video below in the description and over on my blog at brittaswiderski.com. You could even flick some water on this if you're looking for some more depth. But right now, I'm just going to keep it this way. I have this piece of white cardstock cut with Labels 16 die from Spellbinders, and I'm going to use some washi tape as my focal point. So I'm just going to kind of drape it over the side here. This is from My Mind's Eye, and you'll be able to get a link to this also in the bottom of below this video. So I've covered my entire focal piece here, which I definitely made sure I held it up against the Peacock Feathers and decided if the colors go with that. Otherwise, you could use really any washi tape or pattern paper that you have on hand. I just really like this transparent look right now. And then I'm just going to cut around the outside of the frame. You can also just fold it over the edges, but I think this will give us a little bit more of a finished look. And now that I have my little washi tape covered piece, I'm going to put out my title in these gorgeous stickers. They're from Amy Tangerine. They're called Remarks Baxter, and they're transparent. So this will have a lot of fun properties. I think I'm going to use the pink ones, but I might end up using the yellow ones as well. And I think I'm going to do Love You. That sounds like it'll be super cute. So I'm going to use both types of these, and I'm going to use some tweezers to place them on here. Alright, so I lined my little letter stickers up on this white banner and then trimmed banner ends into it. It was pretty easy once I got going, but you definitely need a small thing to maneuver them around because, you know, they're like vellum stickers. They're very flimsy in the way that they bend easily, but they are very strong. They won't rip or anything like that. You just have to make sure to place each little piece with some scissors. So I actually just use my scissors and then a little pair of tweezers that I have on my desk. So now I can start adhering everything together, and I think I'm going to do this little washi tape piece right here, the sentiment right here, and then tie a nice little bow in this red-orange twine that I have from the Twinery around the bottom to finish everything off. Alright, so I have my little bow tied around, and this twine is called Mandarin, by the way. This is the color. This is gorgeous red-orange, and I don't use it very often, but it goes perfectly with this card. So I just added a little glue dot behind it to make sure that the knot stays in place. Tied it with 2 lengths of the same length of twine, and that helps make it a little bit more substantial and balance everything out. So I hope you enjoyed this little quick tip on the seasonal distress inks, and I hope that you pick up a few and start incorporating them into your projects, because they're really, really awesome inks, and I think they add some brightness to the distress ink palette that I really enjoy, because I'm definitely a brighter, happier person versus more distressed or vintagey. So even if you haven't gotten into distress inks in the past, now is a great time to get in, because you can really experiment with any kind of color that suits you and your crafting style. So thanks so much for joining me, and I'm hoping to have more videos, but I'm not going to do a weekly video yet. I'm still in school and in my last semester of college, so just trying to get through this last semester, and then hopefully I'll have weekly videos for you again. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out my blog for all the details on this project, and for projects at least once, twice, or 3 times a week. So if you're missing me, you can definitely check out my blog at brittaswiderski.com. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll catch you again next time on another video tutorial.